your 10th birthday party, when you got your first pet, or when something especially sad or scary or wonderful happened to you. You may feel like you remember those moments in great detail, as if you were reliving them when you think about them. But as you will learn today, our memories are often much less accurate than we think they are. You might be wondering how researchers can test the accuracy of people's memories. That's a great question. Researchers have two main ways to test the accuracy of people's memories. They can test people's memories for events that have just happened, keeping a careful record of all the details. Then they can test people's memories for the same events later to see whether some of the details have changed. Researchers can also create memories in the lab. They can do this by having participants in their studies watch videos or engage in carefully controlled interactions. Because researchers know exactly what happened, they can then check their participants' memories for accuracy. For example, researchers asked people for their memories of the Challenger explosion, a very memorable event at the time, right after it happened, and then 2.5 years later. They found that people's memories were not very accurate and, maybe even more surprisingly, people's confidence in their memories and the accuracy of the memories was uncorrelated. This means that the people who were the most confident in their memories were not necessarily more accurate than the people who were less confident in their memories. Before studies like this one, it was believed that we have excellent, almost photographic memories of emotionally vivid events, so-called flashbulb memories. It turns out that although we feel that we remember these impactful events better than other events, our memories are not especially accurate. Other researchers had participants listen to a conversation between 3 black men and 3 white men. They found that people tended to misremember who said what, especially within race. Highly prejudiced people exhibited this tendency more strongly. Taken together, this research suggests that our memories are not only inaccurate, but that they can also be biased. Let's talk about 3 ways in which memory can go wrong. Individuals may experience source misattribution, leading them to believe false or unreliable information because they've forgotten how they learned it. Under certain conditions, false memories can be implanted by researchers and participants can believe them. And the way in which questions are asked can influence what people remember about events that they have witnessed. The world is full of false information. When we read a headline on a tabloid or in a celebrity gossip blog, or hear something from our one friend or relative who likes to embellish their stories and invent facts, we may quickly dismiss the information. Over time, however, we may remember whatever it is that we read or were told and forget what the source of the information was. Our previous ability to discount the information due to the unreliable source can diminish over time. And we may end up believing information that we had previously dismissed as untrue. For example, I remember learning that goldfish have really short memories. I find it reassuring that they might enjoy being in a small fishbowl because, as far as they know, they could be in the ocean rather than just on the other side of their bowl. The only problem is that I have no idea where I got that information from. It's entirely possible that it is untrue. Dr. Elizabeth Loftus, a researcher who studies memory, has even been able to make people believe false memories about their own lives. For example, she enlisted the help of a boy's family to convince him that he had been lost at a shopping mall as a child. She had his parents write in a journal about real events and add an entry about their son being lost in a shopping mall. Their son was allowed to read through the journal. When asked about it later, he not only said that he remembered being lost in a shopping mall, he also added his own details of the experience that were not in the journal. This suggests that it is possible for people to have vivid memories of events that did not happen to them at all. A more subtle way in which memory can go wrong is due to the misinformation effect. The misinformation effect refers to the fact that information that we are exposed to after the memory was formed can affect what we remember. This research was also conducted by Dr. Loftus and focused on how questions are phrased. She had her participants watch a short video involving a car accident and then ask them to estimate the speed of the cars. The verbs used to ask the question were manipulated to see if they affected the estimates the participants provided. And they did. Participants were asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other, provided estimates that were, on average, nearly 10 miles an hour faster than participants who were asked how fast the cars were going when they contacted each other. Another study showed a 1-minute clip and then asked the different forms of the questions afterwards. 1 week later, all participants were asked whether there was any broken glass. Although there was no broken glass in the original video, almost a third of the participants who were asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other reported seeing broken glass, versus 12% in the control condition with no questions asked. All of these lab studies may seem silly or inconsequential, but taken together, they suggest some very serious potential issues for our legal system. It is human nature to trust people and believe what they tell us, especially if they saw it with their own eyes. However, research on memory suggests that our memories are not generally highly accurate, that the most confident people are not the most accurate, and that the way in which witnesses were questioned may have affected their memories. These memory issues may be pronounced enough to send an innocent person to jail or to help a guilty person go free. Now that you've gotten the big idea that human memory is often fallible and problematic, let's review some of the details. Pause the video, take out a piece of paper, and write down everything you remember about each concept. Memory researchers can test the accuracy of memories in 2 ways. They can test what people remember immediately after events and then after time has passed. They can also create memories in the lab. Both of these types of studies tend to show that people's memories are not highly accurate. Why do people misremember? They may experience source misattribution, remembering information from an unreliable source after they've forgotten how they learned the information. They may have false memories implanted in them by people that they love and trust. They may be influenced by the way they are asked about events after they occur. All in all, there's lots of evidence suggesting that our memories are often flawed and that our intuitions about how well we remember events from our past may also be incorrect. By the way, I do want to point out that I am not suggesting that you abandon all of the lovely and important memories of your childhood because they may be inaccurate. We reconstruct memories as a way to develop our identities and imbue our lives with meaning. The story of how my husband first told me he loved me holds a special place in my heart, regardless of whether I remember it accurately. Although, being me and knowing what I know, I did write down a detailed account shortly after it occurred. However, when the facts really matter and it's important to get it right, we should remember to be skeptical.